We'll begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, looking at our agenda, doesn't seem like we have much to complain about. Is there any changes, modifications, anything? Any suggestions? I know that. Okay, well, we'll look for an approval then.
I move to approve tonight's agenda.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we'll move into delegation.
Thank you, Mr. Flynn. Appreciate it. So I had a great conversation last week with our high school principal, Clay Henry. And he described the conversation that he had with the district's new attendance and engagement specialists that we've hired in partnership with ESD 123. So after such a good conversation, I thought we should just invite her to explain her position and her role to the board of directors. And as it so happens, and I already relayed this, during our principals meeting today, Mr. Hampman at the middle school relayed to me how excited he was because he had his meeting with Emily Robb today. So Emily is here to share a little bit about what her role is going to be working through the ESD for the district this year. So Emily.
Everybody, I think I know almost everyone. If not, Emily Robb. So pretty much big overview of my position is getting to figure out the tier 3 students, which are students who are chronically absent, which is described as at least 10% or more missing school. Meeting with them and their families, figuring out why they're not coming to school, and if there's any resources that they may need, seeing how the school can connect them with those resources, and also find ways to get them back into school. As Mr. Peterson's already mentioned, I did meet with the high school and I've met with the middle school, and a lot of it is just figuring out what they did last year, what worked, what didn't work, and then creating a plan for this next year. Part of that plan is coming up with an attendance team, so that when my position isn't a position anymore, hopefully the work continues and it's still sustainable for years to come. I think that a part of the packet was charts that I've been working on. And those charts is just data from last year, and on there you'll see how many percentage of students in each school were in that chronic or severely chronic or going to like really close to reaching that chronic absence. So using that data, my supervisor and I were going to meet with Mr. Peterson tomorrow and really hash out where I'm going to be needed the most throughout the school district. But yeah, I'm super excited to get started, and meeting with the principals has been really nice and kind of hashing out a plan for this year. But yeah, do you guys have any questions at all?
I saw those charts. So is that something you'll be reviewing on a monthly or quarterly or just annual basis to see what trends we may have? Or?
Yeah, so a part of my position, I have to report to the OSBI, I think monthly. It's either monthly or quarterly. I think they want to start out monthly and then maybe eventually go to quarterly. But using that data and still creating those graphs and seeing if it gets better throughout the year, maybe seeing where that chronic absent really hits. And then, yeah, reevaluating throughout the year, and then hopefully in the next year, hitting it on the nail from the beginning. Yeah. Any other questions?
Thank you. Good luck.
Yeah, I'm super excited.
I imagine my autistic daughter will be on your crosshairs.
Well, I think that predominantly, and while we'll focus on all absences, really, I think the biggest area of focus is going to be on the unexcused absences, truancies, the extended truancies, where we're simply not aware of why a student has gone One of the things that excites me as a former high school principal is the fact that Emily's got a good expertise and relationship with local families in town already, having grown up here during her work as our COVID interventionist. And that's being able to work with Chris and the kids at the elementary level to prevent them from hopefully getting into that scenario when they become high school age. So many things about a 17 or 18-year-old kid are ingrained and they're hard to bring them back, quite frankly. Where my hope is that longer term, we'll be able to prevent kids from entering into that severe chronic absenteeism. So excited for that. I know Chris and Shannon Schleep, our new counselor, are gonna get to see plenty of Emily this year. So, but thank you for
Yeah.
being here. Appreciate it. She did make reference. This is grant funded through ESSER dollars through the ESD, so it is not an infinite time frame. But she said hopefully we can get some processes that we can systemize so that when the grant funding does run out, we can still go down that same path.
Creating better habits.
Exactly. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And welcome. We'll move on to the proposed consent agenda. Any comments or questions? Okay,
I'll move to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
all right. It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Passes unanimous. So we'll move on to public comments. We have any electronic,
No
Any-
electronic, Mr. Bourne.
any public here to speak? Well, I guess we can move right into new business, policy 5515 discussion.
Yeah, thank you. I wanted to bring this to the board's attention before the next meeting, because next meeting, you're going to see a policy in front of you that is brand new. Is something that we haven't had in place. And I wanted to make the board aware of it and kind of have some discussions about the impact that it's going to have on the district, which are quite frankly, probably minimal, but it it includes some things that are just a little different, quite frankly. I don't know any other way to say it. So policy 5115 will be a WASDA created policy. And this is in response to a piece of legislation that actually passed in the spring of 2021. And they were hoping to have it included then for last year. And quite frankly, this is one of those pieces of legislation that sometimes gets lost in the shuffle, so to speak. But what this is doing is working towards improving staff stress levels and secondary stress. Quite frankly, it's a response to COVID for our staff members. And so one of the things that the legislature put in place with SHB 1363 requires the district to establish a district-wide workforce mental health committee, share stress management strategies and mental health resources available for staff, including links on our website and discussion during this committee work, and adopt or amend policies and procedures that incorporate these elements. So that will be policy 5515 that we've not had in place. As any of you know, that when the legislature passes something and then says, and you need to form a committee on it, a lot of times we can assume that just means we want to Great, it's one more committee that the state wants us to have. But what we're going to do is we're going to incorporate that into our safety committee. And what we will retitle our safety committee will be then Health and Safety Committee. With each of these committees that meets as at the building level, each building will then be responsible for disseminating information that we gather. Right now, Shelley Knight in payroll kind of acts as the buffer between our insurance providers, our ESD, and everyone who has access to those types of services. And she simply forwards them to the district staff as they come across her desk. So this will be another layer that we'll be required to have. But really, we're redoing the system and how we get that information out to staff. I think if anyone who's in private industry over the course of the past 2.5 years realizes with school up and downs in school, out of school, all the different requirements, our staff is stressed. People in the private sector are stressed. We've seen that from the Great Resignation movement across the United States. So this really is meant to be a preventative measure to help our staff cope with stressors. Some may be school related, some quite frankly may not be school related, and access to services in order to cope with them. But I didn't just want to show you policy 5515 in its legal state without giving you some of the background and purpose behind it. So we will get that policy, the draft policy, for our August 22nd meeting. And then you can see the legalese behind it. And feel free, if you have any questions now, I can do some more research between now and that meeting. But otherwise, we'll have a first reading during that meeting on the 22nd. And hopefully this will be something that we can incorporate rather harmlessly into the rest of the system moving forward.
What was that House bill number?
1363, SHB 1363.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
I'll just throw kudos to Chris. I've already seen a lot of work that she's already doing in that and her emails to her staff and just encouraging them to take care of themselves and support each other. So we
Yep.
already got a good start.
Yep, I agree.
All righty, so we'll look forward to that.
Absolutely.
And then next is our professional development calendar for
Yes.
next year.
Thank you again. I've included in our board packet, you see a rather lengthy Excel spreadsheet with all of the professional development opportunities that are going to be made available to our staff beginning on the 18th is our first day of True PD. We have new staff training then on the 19th, and then we hit things hard and heavy on Monday, the 22nd, and on from there. As you look at that, you can see that there are a lot of offerings. I'm very pleased to say that really outside of some of our contracted services, and I'm saying first, like things like GAP training and our firearms training that we have contracted with an outside gentleman from Yakima, that and our ARC curriculum training. Outside of that, a majority of our training and our things will be led by Kybee staff. We don't have to travel anywhere. They're coming to us, the outside people. So it's kind of refreshing to not have any of our service providers or providers coming to the district. We're providing this in service ourselves. And this really is, quite frankly, the first time in almost 3 years that we've been able to get everyone back in the same room, get them back at a formal breakfast, all in one area for the first time. Last year, we had to divide our breakfast typically that we have in the multi-purpose room. We had to divide that by each building, and we had to make sure there weren't a lot of people all eating together and things like that. So this really is, in every sense of the word, the first time that we've gotten everybody back going since COVID. And then giving the staff plenty of opportunities for things that the buildings are putting in place and district are putting in place. It's a busy week of work for us. But I wanted the board to see that and recognize that the more and more time goes by, the more really we are returning to the way things were before COVID. And this is another example, but I'm really proud of the work the principals have put together in putting this all together. And I know at the end of the week, the people who are participating and the administrators are gonna realize they just went through quite a bit of, got a bunch of information, went through quite a bit of information with their staff. So really good stuff. But I wanted the board to see that, and if you have any questions about any specific offering or topic, we'd be happy to talk about it. But it's just it's good stuff, and I'm very proud of the fact that this thing for the most part is written in stone. We've been over these and over these and over these over the summer, and again when the principals came back to make sure that all of our offerings were not only legitimate but needed for teaching staff and other staff. As you know, things like GAP training, where we train our bus drivers. We'll have refresher courses for anyone who wants them, as well as new ASB trainings, things of that nature. So it's really a well-rounded week of information, everything from CPR and first aid refreshers to safety drills to data. Quite frankly, it runs the gamut. So I'm also very happy to say that one of our new IT people, Amelia Rivas, is going to be leading all of the Power School training. She came to us from Kennewick School District. She worked at Highlands Middle School prior to coming to here. And she has a vast knowledge of Power School, and she's going to be our direct link to have a person here who knows Power School ins and outs, do all the Power Teacher Pro training for teaching staff. She's very cognizant, having worked with this, of the specific things that staff need moving forward. So we actually start our Power School training with administrators on Wednesday. We move to some district secretaries then on the 11th. And then we just keep rolling out after that to more and more people. And with that, all the Power School information for staff, our training videos, all those things, the website is done and it will go active and available to everybody on Friday. So a lot of work to get everything done over the summer, but I'm very happy with the results, and I think you're going to see it this year when you talk to staff at the beginning of the year. So that's really all I have, but definitely stay tuned.
It's a lot of training.
It is a lot of
It's
training.
pretty busy.
It is. It's reminiscent of Julie, you'll have to remind me of the formal name, the Kennewick training that we used to go through back in the
Oh,
days.
yeah. They renamed it, so.
Yeah, 3 days of intensive stuff. But anyway, it's really nice though not to have to worry about a lot of different groups coming into the buildings and trying to organize that and make sure travel schedules are taken care of. This is primarily going to be done here local. We're proud of that.
Okay, that looks pretty intense.
Yeah, we'll let you know. Hopefully we didn't give too much. We'll probably be able to tell you that about the 26th.
Teachers will be going around.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll have to look at my schedule, but I might be interested in just sitting in on the
Yeah.
active shooter trainings with the kids.
Absolutely. In fact, and I would open that, and I know we put the invitation out, but the board is welcome at any of these particular days, trainings with any of our buildings or all district staff. Particularly, we're going to do not a formal, excuse me. We will do a regular breakfast with the entire district in the multi-purpose room. That's going to start at 7:30 on Monday, the 29th. You're all invited to that, of course. I promise I won't put you on the spot and ask you to speak or anything unless you really want to, in which case just nudge me real quick. But you're all invited to this. Again, a nice way to thank you all, but also to have people see that, yeah, the board's here, or we're kind of returning to normal. It's kind of like the kindergarten graduation this year and the 8th grade graduation. Our formalities, our formal ceremonies are coming back, and this is another one.
Can you send out a calendar invite? for that?
Absolutely.
Great.
Yeah, I do.
Thank you.
How about our senior breakfast?
Senior breakfast is up for discussion, absolutely. I'll make-
It's a long ways away, but
I will make sure and get Mr. Henry in on that discussion as well.
I thought that was his pet project or whatever.
Pet peeve or pet project?
Oh, I thought it was his.
Yeah, we'll have those discussions ongoing throughout the year, I'm sure. But absolutely, we'll get an invite sent out to you. You're all welcome. I understand you have busy schedules and everything, but please feel free to drop by. Just let Heidi know if you're going to be dropping by, and we'll make sure and get a note to the principals that you are interested in the topic area or interested in sitting in on anything, okay?
Thank you.
Okay, well, we'll move on to board comments.
I've been sick, so
I thought you were gonna say you're bored.
no. I wanted to go to National Night Out, but missed it. So.
It was really nice,
Good.
actually. And I don't want to be out of place, so please, Mr. Thornton, you can
No, go
push
for it.
back on
Yeah,
this,
go
but
right
the
You're part of
nat-
the board too, aren't you?
I'm kind of the secretary of the board, but, you know, I want to interject at least because Josh brought up the National Night Out was a really good community event.
Good.
We didn't actually get noticed to participate until very late in the game, the Friday before. But our high school team, along with Emily and myself, went to the park on Tuesday night, had a table / booth area along with probably 7 or 8 other vendors. And then I had my community council meeting, but they were really busy by the time community council was over. It got past the time that it was supposed to end. There was still a very big crowd down there. Wonderful event. And in fact, today I told the principals that we'd be signing up for that same type of an atmosphere, booth tables at Coyote Days. And so we're making a specific effort to make sure that we have a presence at these events, which is really nice to have. Because again, those are the events that haven't been able to take place for a while. So we'll be front and center at those throughout the year.
Were you able to hand out any employment applications?
We had a significant amount of interest in our open positions. In fact, today during our principals meeting, we had what I thought was an outstanding idea from Mr. Henry, which is to create a bulletin board that we can put on an easel and take with us and update those regardless of where we're at or what event we're at, even at quote unquote non-public events. We could have that easel out and sitting on your way into a football game if you're interested, seeing what's available there. So it was a really good conversation.
Well, thanks for filling me in. Since I
No,
missed it.
absolutely.
No other comments? I just wanted to mention about the facilities meeting that we've been going through,
Yeah.
the tours of the different schools and of course, we get to see the good parts and the worst parts. And there's quite a difference between the part the public sees and then going underneath in the basement, seeing, what's barely holding on. And so it makes it real, that things do need to be fixed. So it's just a matter of we need to get the public interested enough to, vote on a bond or realize that you need to step up and help us out.
Were we going to talk about that next meeting? or-
Next meeting.
The facilities task force is going to make a presentation at the meeting on the 22nd. Mr. Thornton will obviously be able to insert it anywhere during that presentation, having been a part of it. But the people that were on the committee and have gone to all the sites are very excited to be here for the next board meeting and present that. They've got, in fact, some of them have very strong ideas about where they would like to go, and I have to kind of rein them back a little bit. But it's good to see that we've hit a spot with a few of our community members that they understand the situation that we're in, and they're anxious to move forward.
And again, we'll meet on Thursday at the bus garage at 5:30 if anybody wants to go. Okay, nothing else. Well, I guess we can adjourn then. So I will adjourn this meeting for the evening. Thank you all.
Thank you, guys.